Jai Opetaia successfully defends his IBF and Ring Magazine titles, cruiserweight titles, against a very game David Nyika. We'll get into that in a sec, but let's talk about the night in general. Great atmosphere. It was great to see Eddie Hearn talked about how, the fact that it was a Wednesday night and it was a sellout crowd and the atmosphere was just amazing. Australian audiences and boxing fans, we are used to seeing fights midweek. No Limit put on many shows midweek, and they're typically exciting and great atmosphere, and I think it's an indication of just how healthy Aussie boxing is at the moment. It's good for Eddie Hearn to see that, and it's just more incentive for him to bring even more shows down under. We had all the stars out. We had Alexander Volkanovski was there. Sky Nicholson, George Kambosos adding their commentary. Johnny Fisher was there. I wonder if he was there to keep an eye on Justis Huni. Maybe something can happen between those two. Maybe Eddie can make something happen. The night started with a draw, or at least when I tuned in. I tuned in to watch Cody Shillelagh and Albert Tu'ua. Albert Tu'ua went down twice in the fight, but when he was coming forward and putting punches together, Cody Shillelagh was doing a lot of backpedaling, fighting off the back foot, but not really throwing too much. That fight ended in a draw, and I thought, well, that's a bit concerning. You don't want your night starting off with a draw, but it did get really exciting after that. Next fight that I saw, I can't remember if it was right after that, but Runchi Zhu, fella from China, fighting out of Queensland under the tutelage of Angelo Hyder. Of course, Angelo Hyder looking after the Maloney brothers. Both boys were there, Andrew and Jason, in the corner for Runchi Zhu. And what a character, Runchi Zhu. I don't even know if he threw a jab. He just came at poor old Tony Ingram all night. It was his aggression and his activity that got him the unanimous decision win. So Zhu went on to win on points. Zhu was one of two Chinese fighters last night, the other one being Fan Zhang. I think both fighters came from kickboxing backgrounds, or maybe it was just the one. Can't remember, but both had the same mentality. It was aggressive and it was non-stop action. So it was exciting to watch. And boxing really on the rise in China, which is great to see. I think Zhilei Zhang has probably a lot to do with that. His rise in prominence and popularity has brought a lot of attention to the sport, and we're seeing a lot of people take up boxing in China or change codes, change martial arts, and come from other disciplines over to boxing. So it's great to see. So Taylor Jensen and Shauna Brown from Ireland, sparring partner to two-division undisputed, multiple division champion Katie Taylor. She went on to continue her winning ways, moving to 4-0. Taylor Jensen, local girl from Queensland, put up a good fight, took a lot of punishment, but put up a good fight, showed a lot of grit, a lot of heart. There was a moment there right at the end of the fight where she was talking to the camera, probably thanking a whole range of people. But there was no audio. Someone should have tapped her on the shoulder and said, listen, we actually can't hear you. But she was great spirit. The fight started off when the girls came out to their walkout songs. It was a dance-off to begin with. It was like watching Australia's Got Talent. But once they got in the ring, it was all business, and it was great to see. So who else was there? Ben Marnie picked up the IBF Pan Pacific Super Welterweight title last night. He took on the fellow we just spoke about before, Fan Zhang, the other fellow from China. Yeah, not a lot of technical ability, just sort of came forward all night, really. And it was really just a moving punching bag for Ben Marnie. Ben Marnie clearly levels above in terms of skill and ability. But Fan Zhang had he had the cross guard going, he had the high guard, he had the peekaboo, he had all kinds of different guards going. Really, just an engine on him, really, and durable, because Ben Marnie was landing really, really clean, good shots. So he's picked up, Marnie's continued his winning ways, 14-0-1. Now holds the IBF Pan Pacific Super Welterweight title. Nikita Zhu, I think, would be a good matchup for him down the line once Nikita Zhu comes back from injury. I think that'd be a great fight to see. They both have common opponents. Bedmani, his only blemish on his record was a draw, and that was with Colin Mazzudio. Yeah, I think that'd be a good matchup. So hopefully Nikita Tszyu can get back in the ring soon and something can happen there. What's Nikita got? He's got the... I just have to check my memories for shit, but Nikita's got... I think he's the IBF Australasian Super Welterweight title and WBO Intercontinental Super Welterweight champion. So once he comes back from injury, maybe that is a fight that they can look at. All right, moving on now. TeremoanaTeremoana Jnr. obliterated his opponent in the first round. I think it was a left hook that grazed the top of his opponent, Osasu Otobo. It just grazed the top of his head, but it was enough to knock him down. I think it was the body shot before that did the damage. I think it was a right to the body and then a left over the top, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I don't know that the Otobo fella from Germany showed up to fight. Maybe he just turned up for a paycheck. I don't know. There wasn't a lot of footage out there of Osasu Otobo, so I didn't bother making a prediction. I think everyone expected TeremoanaTeremoana Jnr. It was a bring-along fight. I think everybody expected him to win it, and he did in his usual style with a knockout. He's just got devastating power, graceful movement for such a big fella. He's the same height as David Nyika, mind you, but he just stands out. His frame just stands out. So just silky smooth skills in there, and he really is becoming a rising star. It's way too early to see just where he'll end up in his career, and he's only fighting, they used to call them tin cans, taxi drivers, plumbers. He's not fighting the elite guys, but whoever he is fighting, he is annihilating. He is just taking them out early within 2 rounds, either the first or the second round. So, yeah, he's exciting to watch. So, keep it up, TeremoanaTeremoana. The world is watching now, and let's hope that he is our next big star in Australian boxing. And moving on now quickly to our super middleweight bout before we get on to the 2 biggest fights of the night. We watched Max Money McIntyre pick up the IBF Youth Super Middleweight title. Young kid coming out of Queensland, exciting young fighter. Showed technical superiority and just too much power for his opponent, Turkish fella Abdul Salim Saman, who had already been knocked down twice before the fight was stopped in the 4th, and at one point getting his mouthguard knocked clean out of his mouth and into someone's soup bowl sitting ringside. And that became a bit of a theme, actually, fights ending early, which was great. Moved the fights forward a little bit. It means everyone didn't have to wait till 2 a.m. To go home. So that was good to see. Over the Justis Huni now, who successfully defended his titles last night, defeating South African Sean Potgieter. And that fight finished, I think, in a second round. So, yeah, in the breakdown and the prediction, I said that Huni would win by stoppage and it would be the accumulation of body shots. However, I said that it would happen late in the fight. It happened way earlier than that. It was an accumulation of body shots. Huni really went after Potgieter's body, but he threw in headshots, and in the end, I think it was the corner that threw in the towel. No, it was the ref, I think, that stopped the fight. But yes, Huni, who I said before in the lead up was criticised for his power. Within the boxing circles, I've heard the criticisms of Huni's kind of small for a heavyweight. He doesn't really carry that much power. But boy, did he prove everybody wrong last night. He's got the majority of his wins by knockout, but last night he really had to impress, as I suggested he would have to, because if he's going to mix it up with all these guys, Bacoli, Agid, all these other top guys who I think are all tied up at the moment, so they're looking at a fight between him and Moses Ituama, which would be a cracking fight. Both technically, good fighters. Just Ituama's power is just, I think, on another level. But anyway, that's a fight that they're looking at making. But I said that he needed to look impressive against Potgieter, and that's exactly what he did last night. And finally, we come to the main event between Jai Opetaia and David Nyika. Jai Opetaia successfully defended his IBF and Ring Magazine titles last night in a cracking fight that lasted just 4 rounds. It was another early one, and that's credit to David Nyika, who actually came to fight. He came to stand toe-to-toe for the most part with Jai Opetaia, which is what he said he would do, but not a lot of people, including Jai Opetaia, believe that was going to be the case. And part of the reason why I thought it would go a little bit later is because I expected David Nyika to box. That's what I was thinking. I think that's what most people were thinking. I predicted Jai Opetaia would stop David Nyika, but late in the fight. But no, David Nyika stood there toe-to-toe and really took it to Jai Opetaia and caught him a few times. I think it might have been the second round or the third round, I can't remember, but he got Jai Opetaia clean and rattled him. And I heard Opetaia talk about it in an after-fight interview where he said, I was buzzed. That a punch landed, I was on the top of the head, it buzzed me, and it woke me up, and it reminded me to keep my guard up. Ultimately, however, Opetaia is just too much. He's too hot to handle. He really is a hot potato and the most dangerous man at cruiserweight. And if Alexander Usyk would come down back to cruiserweight, that would be a cracking fight. And as Eddie Hearn said, Opetaia would be the one guy that would definitely give Usyk a run for his money. Breedis gave Usyk a run for his money when they were at cruiserweight, so it makes sense that they are the 3 top guys. Not so much now because obviously Breedis is on a bit. Usyk has been fighting at heavyweight. If he came down to cruiserweight, would he need a couple of fights to warm up and acclimatise? If Opetaia moved up to heavyweight, like they're thinking of moving up to heavyweight, and took on Usyk there, he would need a couple of fights to acclimatise before facing Usyk, and would Usyk retire before that happened? But that's not what they're thinking now. Right now, the guy ahead of him after the David Nyika fight is Zurdo Ramirez in a unification bout. If that fight happens, and I'm hoping they can make it happen, I don't give Zurdo much hope of winning that fight, to be honest with you. I think Zurdo is probably a better inside fighter, maybe, than Opetaia. Opetaia is more comfortable from sort of mid-range to long-range coming in, setting up his shots, coming in, throwing combinations, and then getting on the inside. But last night, the shots that were getting through on Opetaia from David Nyika were the uppercuts, and that was in close quarters. So he's susceptible to those. But so Zurdo Ramirez, so that's a fight that I'm hoping they can make happen, because it'd be a great fight, and I think absolutely Opetaia would go on to unify after that. But credit to David Nyika, it was a scary knockout too. He was down for a while there, and you could see that there was concern, obviously from the Nyika team, but obviously from the Opetaia team as well. So after the celebrations, it sort of settled down a little bit. You could see that they were concerned. And credit to Opetaia as well. There's a lot of respect and a lot of love afterwards. All the animosity and all that is out the window once the fight is over. And then, there was a lot of, they hugged and shook hands and talked after the fight. So it was good to see. It was just a great event. Jai Opetaia walked out to Elvis as a tribute to his grandfather. David Nyika walked out to some real soulful music there. And even the walkouts were great last night. So I really enjoyed them. So it was a great event. Let's see what Jai Opetaia does next. Make that Zurdo fight. Let's get it going. Let's get it cracking. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and see you next time. Let me ask you, do you want to be in the moment and not just capture the moment? Well, let Xbot Go's AI sports cameraman empower your smartphone. The industrial-grade computer vision algorithms and tracking system intuitively identifies the focal point on the field, let's say a ball or a player, and autonomously tracks it with smooth and professional zooms and pans. Next time little Timmy is on the soccer pitch or Julie is at gymnastics, you can watch on knowing the Xbot Go will capture the action with accuracy as you watch on and cheer for your loved one. Using Follow Me 2.0, Xbot Go applies re-identification technology to identify and lock onto athletes by appearance, body shape, and jersey number. It's great for sports like soccer, basketball, hockey, football, rugby, lacrosse, and so much more. Activate Follow Me and record yourself as you train, then watch it back for some analysis. You can even live stream, and the Xbot Go app allows you to edit your content as you go, with up to 20 gigabytes of storage. Xbot Go is the only one consumption-grade AI product that can realize team sports tracking and recording with such precision and professionalism. Don't just record the moment, be in the moment. Act now, click the referral link in the description section below. By doing so, you can also take advantage of an exclusive discount. Don't forget to also check out Xbot Go's official website for more information on their products, accessories, and the latest Xbot Go news and updates. Thank you for watching Pound for Pound TV. Please remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell for future updates. See you in the next one.